Alright guys, and welcome back to Big and Small Media. I'm Big.
I'm Small.
And thanks once again for coming back. So, we've just literally got in from watching Avengers Infinity War. Oh my god.
Before anything, this is going to be a spoiler.
Oh yes, I need to remind you about this is a spoiler review.
If you haven't seen the film yet, please do not continue watching this and come back after you've seen the film and join in.
Because we're going to be talking the shit out of this.
Yeah, we are.
We're going to be telling a lot because a lot happened. First of all, wow, this was fucking insane. That is the only. That was the only. I'm speechless. That's the only way I can probably describe what just happened. First of all, the general story of the thing. Obviously, Thanos and his ultimate quest is to wipe out half the universe because in his mind, he thinks that's the right thing to do, stop everyone from suffering, which is a bit of a bit of a mad bastard thought.
You definitely feel when you watch this film that the story is mostly focused on Thanos, which is a great aspect of the film. I absolutely loved watching the scenes with Thanos in and the backstory and the struggle that he's fighting.
For his own internal belief and his quest.
Don't get me wrong, he's completely nuts.
Oh yeah, he's nuttier than a bag of Chinese chicken salad. I mean,
he's off his crazy, but it works so well with the film and how they cut it, and it's just incredible. I'm so lost for words. The cinema was so silent as well when the film ends. Everyone was just like.
Everyone was just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I mean, for me, well, I don't think it's just for me personally, but one of the recurring sort of qualms a lot of people have had with Marvel's films is that the villains, they're not as fleshed out and as developed. You've only got certain specific handful, like maybe Loki. Everyone was raving about Killmonger and other aspects, but with this, they absolutely delivered with Thanos and what they promised from start to finish.
Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. Josh Brolin plays him so well, and we said we were confused whether it was CGI
or in prosthetic makeup, because when you look at it, it looks stunningly photorealistic. I've got to say, I've never seen such detail in the image and creating him as they did do. It was just phenomenal watching him. First of all,
so we'll break it down. We'll break some of the best scenes down.
Yeah.
So
what was your favourite scene to begin with?
Oh God, there's so many.
Yeah, I've got to say,
I did enjoy Titan.
Oh yeah, the scene on Titan
with Star-Lord and Spider-Man.
Oh God, that was
the Iron Spidey suit.
Spider-Man suit. Wow. The four nodes, arms, legs coming out of the back. It was just incredible the way he used it in his combat and like protecting himself and rescuing others.
So comic book when he's jumping in the air and he has like the four legs behind him and his eyes are just glowing. It looks so good. There's so many scenes. I couldn't really say which was some of my favourites. Some of the scenes with Thanos definitely were some of my favourites.
Yeah. I think for me, it's got to be when it was in Wakanda, when you see all the tribes uniting, and you can see Thanos' army of these outrider creatures, which look creepy as fuck. I've got to say, they have like 4 arms, and they've got like just a mouth with no eyes. They look like packs of like rabid dogs, don't they?
Like Venom's mouth. Some of them.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like Venom's mouth.
You can see them as they're attacking Wakanda. Obviously, Wakanda's protected by this sort of spherical dome that's energy-based dome, and they're literally just forcing themselves through it. Their arms are being lopped off as they're going through, just to try and find a bit. It's like insects, isn't it? They're swarming.
There's no brain. They're just drones controlled to just kill. Children of Thanos.
Oh wow! I mean, first off, Ebony Moore.
Yeah.
Really again, character-wise, so good, so interesting, with such a quiet voiced individual. The way he's talking, he was quite menacing in his presence and his nonchalant attitude towards pretty much everybody who he felt were like insects under his boot, basically.
Yeah. They seemed very, like, when you see like the children of Thanos and Thanos turn up and everything, killing to them is just nothing. Like, but when you see it from like the Avengers perspective, they're obviously like they're all distraught. You know, it's a very human emotion compared to their very lack of emotion, because all they've done is gone from planet to planet and just killed people. and served Thanos, and it's so good. The character fighting in it is just on another level.
You can tell straight away that the Russos were the right guys to handle not just the story aspect of it, but also the goddamn action.
Yeah.
The fighting sequences when they were rescuing Vision in Edinburgh after they got attacked by, who was it, Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, and I don't think the big one was there, Black Dwarf, was it? I think it was just those two. But yeah, my God, it was like the close. It was close knit at times when it needed to be to give it that intimacy, but the shots then pan back straight away to give you that full scope of what was going on. So I think with a lot of action films, a lot of comic book films that I've seen, sometimes they hone into too close on the action. You can't really see or perceive what's happening.
Yeah.
But whereas the Russos, they just pan back, they just let it happen and just let it free flow throughout.
And it works so well.
Oh, man.
It works so well because there's a lot going on. So you need that space. You need
to be able to see what's going on, because I think one of the things I've mentioned loads of times about the Transformer films and things of that nature, they're too close in the action. You couldn't make out what the hell's going on.
The only time they really get that close is when you got a good emotion going, and you'll see their eyes. Their eyes is the close up on their eyes, especially Thanos.
The facial expressions as well.
Brilliant, so good.
My God, I've never seen this. Obviously, we saw it briefly in Thor Ragnarok. My God, Hulk gets the absolute piss beaten out of him by Thanos.
Yeah, in like 5 seconds. Obviously, if you watch this and you've seen the film, he literally gets owned by a punch and a knee, basically.
Yeah, and my God, well, not just that. He's just like he's doing like Wing Chun hand-to-hand stuff, close quarter.
Which was the first time we really saw Thanos fight in the film as well, which was a good opening.
Yeah,
his full armor, and he
only had 2 Infinity Stones by this. No, he actually had 1 at this point, and it was the Power Stone, because they literally laid waste to Xandar to get it. So I'm pretty much guessing the Nova Corps are completely fucked. Although,
I was shocked how they didn't show any scenes from that. They didn't show like a flashback, or they didn't show like him demolishing Xandar.
That'd have been quite interesting, but you know, maybe that could lead to obviously like Nova and his own film, because he's the last surviving member of the Nova Corps, perhaps, or some sort of thing. So that could be one aspect of it, but that was awesome. And then I liked obviously the individual groups. Their story was spanning off in different directions, but then you could see it all coming to a spearhead right when they needed to. Like Thor on his journey to create a new weapon, which we find out is obviously Stormbreaker. I mean, I think some of the early toy that were released by Marvel Legends, they kind of gave that one away. Yeah. It's Stormbreaker, the massive hammer. And surprisingly, the hammer's handle is actually made of Groot.
Yeah, it's Groot's arm.
He lops it off to give it to Thor, because after they've opened up the heart of the Dying Star to forge this weapon, there's no handle for it, and Peter Dinklage turns out to be one of the dwarves, the master craftsmen who work with the Uru metal to form these things. It was so good to see him, because he's like obviously tiny, but in this he's perceived as like this gigantic dwarf. This gigantic
really good. I like how they changed that around. Everyone's like, oh, he must be a little dwarf in it, you know. And then they made him really tall, which was a good look for him. He was really good. I really enjoyed that.
For you, who are like your standout characters? For me, I've got to say
Thanos.
Yeah,
as a villain.
Great villain.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, really good. I really enjoyed all of her scenes.
You really got to see her, how powerful she really is in this film. Yeah. She was really good in it. Vision was really. He had some really good scenes. Vision.
Yeah.
Because he obviously has one of the stones, so obviously everything's kind of centered about getting the stones.
Yeah.
I liked. You know what I did like was some of them who have never been on camera before in the same scene. First meeting.
Those first meetings were great.
The first meetings were fantastic, like Thor and the Guardians. And he called Rocket a rabbit.
Yeah, constantly it's like, come noble space rabbit.
they were really good scenes. They worked really well.
The comedy seemed natural because they didn't know what each other's were.
Yeah.
And it was so funny when they first discover Thor and he's still alive, and it's like, how the hell did this dude survive? Like Quill's saying, it's like, this is not a dude.
Yeah.
You're a dude. This is a man. A muscular, handsome man. It's just so funny. He sort of played on that aspect.
Voice changed.
Are you mocking me, sir? Quill, your voice just went down a notch. What are you doing? Typical Guardian humour, the banter that they have between them.
Definitely Doctor Strange and Tony Stark.
Oh, again, facial hair bros. Obviously, that was
two brilliant minds trying to outwit each other. So that was really good chemistry on camera. Drax
always good.
Really good lines for Drax. I thought he was really funny. The lines he did have, and he was really good. I can't really say anything bad.
My God, it was just like wave after wave after things happening, and the story. I thought the story was very fluid. It flowed really well, jumping from
scene to scene,
but it didn't feel like the pacing of the story was off in any way.
No.
And it felt like a natural progression after, obviously, it focused on one team and what their efforts were doing, and then onto another. It just felt the continuity of it worked. I just thought it worked really well, and it kept you engaged, and it didn't feel like there were just stretching out, time or filling time to happen for the next big action sequence in it. It just felt
natural.
The story worked well.
And you could tell that by how engrossing it was, like how well.
Yeah,
you got
because
into it.
Christ, at some points I even fell for Thanos in a little bit, because obviously, to possess the Soul Stone, he has to give a soul, and it has to be one of true love. And Gamora's
was a really brilliant.
It was a brilliant scene to watch. It's kind of gripping as well.
She didn't believe that he loved anything,
only apart from his quest, and then to see him turn around, you could see him physically crying, and it's like you've failed. You've failed your goal of what you set out to accomplish. And it's like, oh, I wish this was as easy as you've made it out to be, and him just literally dragging her to the edge. You could tell it was like a father-daughter relationship where, the dad's grabbing hold of the kid and dragging him off to make him do something they don't want to do. But in this instance, it's like, he's going to kill her.
Yeah, he's
going to kill her because he has to reach his objective.
He said he wasn't going to fail a second time, was he?
No.
That was a really like those sort of scenes. I think really made the film, because that's where you feel for the characters, and you're so engrossed over so many years. You watch these films. This is 10 years.
Oh, God.
10 years,
You're invested with these characters.
That's a lot of character building over a lot of time, you know what I mean? And you do kind of... It's like when you see them just go after one after another, and you're like...
Oh, my God, yeah. And even with the characters that only have just been introduced within the last 2 to 3 years, they've still got that... They've all got the presence. They've all got the feeling that they belong there. They don't feel out of place.
Even Spider-Man
just bang, killed it.
Dead.
Oh my God, the spider armor.
So well into the film as well.
With like his relationship with Tony as the mentor-mentee sort of thing.
It's literally, obviously if you watched the film, at the end where you see.
Spoiler alert, obviously we've mentioned this quite many times. People die in this. Oh, they die. By our count, 14 main characters snuffed it. And you were just like, oh shit, who's going to go? Who's going to go?
Yeah.
I personally had money on Cap dying at some point.
Yeah, well, I think that's what I think they must have thought that everyone would have believed that.
Fucking Black Panther bit it, and he's like the highest. He's like the #1 boy at the moment.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God.
Even Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man went as well.
Spider-Man did.
Doctor Strange.
All the big names.
You know what it reminded me of? Someone like constantly just kicking you in the balls.
when you were down and having to deal with this quite traumatic scene.
Then
someone's just laying in another one like Richie and Eddie on bottoms, like boom, 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 constantly just knocking you down emotionally. And oh my God. And one thing as well. When they were on Titan, it's the group obviously of Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Drax, Spidey, and really interesting scene where Strange is using the Time Stone to look into the future and view how much is it? Something like 14 million possibilities of what the outcome can be. And Tony turns and asks him, and he said, "Well, how many do we win?" And he's like, "Just one."
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe, obviously, the way that the story progressed, that all these characters dying, this is the purpose, and this is the one reason, or the only way that they win. And it's like, my God, you've got one outcome, and you've got to admit that, yeah, all these characters, they're gone.
When Doctor gives Thanos the time gem, and he says to Tony just after, he goes, "This was the only way." It makes you feel like it was done on purpose. That's how I always said, the way he came across and he said that's the reason why.
Very clever. We pieced it together after.
Which kind of fits into... I think I'm not going to ruin it for anyone, but I got my own. I mean, like for the future film, I do think I've got a clue of what's going to play out, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone else. I'll just keep that to myself. And
we've said this is going to be a spoiler review, obviously, of the recent film. But oh my God,
April next year for the next one, part 2.
It'll be interesting to see how Ant-Man and the Wasp figure into this, because they are not in this whatsoever. They mentioned that, and Hawkeye from the events of Civil War. Obviously, they worked out some sort of deal with the government, so they're kind of like pushed to one side. But the nice little spoiler as well, obviously, for the new character that will be coming in next year, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers herself. At the end credit sequence, Nick Fury and Maria Hill rock up. They end up snuffing it, but before Fury bites it, he's got this old style ass 90s pager with this like that's quite space age tech on it. He hits the button and you can see the page ascending, and it's just like the star emblem of Captain Marvel and the red and blue sort of cross stripe on it. It was just like, oh, Captain Marvel's going to be coming. Because we know for a fact that obviously she's in the regions of outer space, where she's been like since the 90s. From what the synopsis we've read in regards to what the Captain Marvel story is going to be. So that'll be interesting to see how.
So they're still bringing in characters as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, some of the set photos from when they were shooting for the 4th Avengers, because they've been shooting this for a year, back to back, you see them with these devices on their hands, which I think is some sort of time manipulation or time travel device that they're going to be, because they were shooting scenes that had already been done from the first Avengers in New York, the Battle for New York.
This is why I feel that this is what I could think is going to happen in the next one, where it's all a time manipulation, where it's fooling Thanos, basically. This has been sorted out for a long time.
Yeah, because Tony, an interesting thing is Tony said, like, when he was talking to the Doctor Strange about this, he's been in his head, he's been in Tony's head for like the last 6 years based on the invasion from New York. And Doctor Strange's sort of perceived attitude is like, this is just a recent threat. No, this has been building up for 6 years plus, and Tony's been having, obviously, this vision of what is to come in regards to it. So I just thought it was really well done. I mean, I think sometimes...
It's everything and more than what you'd expect.
Yeah, I think sometimes they get bogged down trying to make the stories too complex and too many twists and turns. But this, it just felt...
I think because
it was necessary for the story, and it felt like...
Because telling a story over 10 years, and you're telling multiple different characters' perspectives from the story, and then combining them all at the end... I think that made it very easy for the film to be played out the way it was.
Definitely.
Because you've already built the characters for people to see. You know them, you know everything, and you know Thanos is not a nice guy. You've been made for it. I was more excited to see Thanos because it's like, finally we get to see Thanos finally fight.
Oh my God! And some of the shit he comes out with. Because he's got the reality gem and obviously the space and
he gets
time.
All of them in the first film, which I thought was like...
I thought they'd span it out a little bit.
Yeah, which...
My God, he fucking breaks apart a moon, for God's sake, and starts hurling it at them at one point. This is some of the scenes that might have been shown from the early D23 convention from last year, was it? Yeah.
Because you would not throw a moon on me again. It
was like, and he just launched at them.
Which makes you thinking, if that's how he's already got the gauntlet in the next one and that's how it's going to start, is it just going to be action-packed?
He only had 2 gems in that point, I think.
Yeah.
3.
At the very end, like, if he goes into the next film with already the gauntlet, and it's just, you can just, it's going to just be an absolute fight for like 2.5 hours. How they're going to do it. It's going to be an interesting story, but...
It'll be cool because, obviously, from what we've seen from the first, I think it was the second trailer, it's like, with the snap of his fingers, Thanos can literally destroy half the universe. But we see from Thor rocking up with Stormbreaker, and he's got vengeance on his mind, because Thanos had killed Loki. he's basically murdered pretty much all the Asgardians. So I think he's the only one left, isn't he? Obviously, when they're in Wakanda, Thor just absolutely busts a nut in him and stabs him, and he grabs him by the back of the head. It's like, this is for.
I told you you were gonna die for it.
I told you I was coming for you, and that sort of reign. And then you just see Thanos lift his fingers and then snap them, and he's like, "What have you done?"
But
I think the power of doing that, you see the gauntlet deteriorate, don't you?
Yeah, because his arm goes all black at the end.
It does,
and
yeah.
the gauntlet's battered.
Yeah,
but then even he disappears and he's confused because he goes into that like sort of lake place and sees Gamora as a child. So you can tell he's playing on his loss.
Yeah.
Which then I still think it's hard. It's weird. It's going to be interesting to see the tricks and turns they're going to do in the next one, because there's going to be some sort of big twist.
But yeah, this was like,
and we've not. I'll tell you what we haven't seen yet. Them all together at the end, because like Avengers, they love the money shot where they get them all together. So there's.
That scene when you see them all charging down the hillsides for Wakanda.
Oh, that was brilliant.
I mean, that was pretty epic. When you've got Black Panther, you've got the Hulk Buster, you've got Captain Marvel, and all like War Machine flying, and Falcon coming in. My God, it was just
sensory overload.
It was. I think I just mentioned it was just like wave after wave after wave of just visuals, but
with a smile on your face, you're just so enjoyable.
God, yeah. Really, I think I'm going to have to go and see this again just to try and take that all in.
Yeah, I said we could watch it back to back. I could easily watch that film back to back just for the sheer enjoyment of it. It was unreal. Like just
my body was just quivering in an orgasmic state pretty much throughout, because I just loved it so much. I'm just speechless.
I feel like they've kind of, once the next one's out, that'll be it for Marvel. I think they might as well just sell the company and go and retire, you know what I mean?
God, they're not going to sell the company.
What, you just be like, mic drop, done, you know
it's
what
like,
I mean?
Boom, out of here,
where do you go after doing something so perfect? So,
well, that's our opinion of it. What did you guys think? Tell us if we're wrong. Tell us what you enjoyed about it.
Yeah, what's your favourite character?
Yeah, what was your favourite moment? Obviously, if people haven't seen this, try and keep them. Obviously, you can put your comments in the section below. If you've seen the film, great. We'll post big things on the thumbnail to say that this is going to be a spoiler review. So anybody that does come across this, if they do reading it, they're reading at their own peril. But yeah, tell us what you thought. What were your favourite parts? Tell us if we were wrong, if you thought we were wrong in what we were describing, or what you thought was right. We'd love to hear from you guys as always.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're going to have to go and see this again and.
Yeah.
Probably enjoy it even more.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Well, this is getting late because it's just gone 12 o'clock. There's a good 2.5 hour film, so I'm going to bid you a sayonara, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Cheers, guys.
See you later.